you need to download Git for Windows. So all you have to do is just go to browser, say Git for Windows, and then it takes you to gitscm.org. And the fastest is either you just download this latest executable, or you can go and download like this standalone installer, which is probably slightly larger, and download and keep this. The second thing we need is we need Sublime text editor for Windows, and that is just because we need a good text editor. So all you do is go here, download, and that's pretty much it. So I've got both of these things downloaded. So let's directly go here and start installing. So the first thing we want to do is install this text editor. So it's Sublime Text, and all the options should be pretty much straightforward. This context menu is quite useful, so let's keep that there. Install, and that's it. Okay, so we are done. Hopefully that should launch Sublime. If not, let's just make sure that it's installed. So we now see that Sublime is installed indeed, and we are all good. So the next thing is to install Git. So all we do is double click and launch the installer. Go next, keep all the defaults. We don't really need a desktop icon. What we could add on is this git bash profile to Windows terminal. Then we go next. We need the start menu, and we will change this to Sublime Text, which we just installed. And as this warning here, this Vim editor, while it is quite powerful, it can be quite annoying, especially for newer users. We'll stick with that. We'll stick with Sublime Text and go ahead. And then let's see, adjusting the name of the initial branches. I think we can just leave it at the default for now. There's no reason to change it. And this is the most recommended option, so we'll stick with that. And we'll use the bundled OSS, Open SSH and Open SSL. Right, so now this is a whole mess of line ending, so we will do the default. Okay, so that's it. Next, and we will use mini TTY. That's fine. Default fast forward or merge is fine. We'll use credential manager. That's also good. But sorry about that. Yeah, we don't need this experimental support. We don't need the file system monitor. And then we go install. This is pretty much straightforward. Shouldn't be a problem at all. Right, so there we have it. Git install is done, and we can launch git bash, and it gives us a nice redirect to this web page with known issues, release notes and new features and what has been released and so on. So we are pretty much done. So the next thing I need to do is to set up my own repositories, and let me show you where those are. So let's go to let's open Chrome. In my profile, and my repositories are over here. So once I sign in, right. So now this is the repository which I want to be able to clone. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can git clone using SSH. Now that may not work straight away because I need to generate my SSH keys and whatnot. So let's go do that first. So let's open this git bash. And for those who may have not done this before, there is a template repository called Scratch Post. So all you have to do is go to this Scratch Post repository, and this gives you a lot of useful things which you can use to sort of test whether things are working or not. So the first thing is you need to create this SSH key pair. Okay, so I'm going to go here and don't have. Okay, let's just try. So let's just try SSHing into this. Okay, so this is not going to work because our port is not correct. So our port is 2222. There you go. So now we are able to SSH, but we're not able to SSH into the server because it only allows key-based so we're going to generate a key pair. So enter the file in which to save this. So by default, this is the one. So for now, I think let's leave this as it is. Now I need to create a passphrase, which I should note down somewhere. Oh, it looks like I made a typo. There you go. So now we have our key pair created, and what I can do is I can SSH into this, CD into this directory. Those two are our files. And just for the sake of convenience, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename these TT and dot. So now we have, instead of IDRSA and IDRSA.pub, now we have gitty and gitty.pub. Now the thing that we need to do is get this gitty.pub and copy this entire content. Go to my settings SSH keys, and I'm going to add a key. Paste this content here. And this is fine because I know which machine this is going to be. All I have to do is add key. And now let's go try SSHing again. Oh, sorry. We need to run this command. Okay, so still we have a problem in the sense that no matching host key was found. And that is because SSH doesn't know that this key has to be offered. So we have to copy this content into a file called config. Yes. This is the file .ssh.config. So we are inside .ssh. Now we have this config file. Now what I'm going to do is just let's see if I can open Sublime. And I will open this particular file. See users. This is where I paste in the stuff that I just copied and then save. Now let's see what happens. Okay, we still seem to have some problem. Port is correct. Okay, so we need to add another few lines into our let's see whether this helps. There we go. So now we are able to connect. We don't know the authenticity of this, but I test it now and then test it. The only thing is I'm not sure how SSH figured out that the public and private keys had to be unlocked, because I don't remember saving the key file. So let's see. That is because the correct file was never offered. So now this should work. There we go. So now it asks us for the passphrase, which we will enter. And there we go. So the allocation request failed, but it now knows that I am whoever I claim to be authenticated with this key that I'm expecting to send, and that's it. So that's it. So now my SSH configuration is complete. Right. So now I will go back to this is my home directory, and now I'm free to clone or do whatever else I do. So what I want to do is I want to clone this particular directory, which is this one here, Embedded Lab 2023. So I select SSH and I'm going to copy this URL and I'm going to basically git clone. So if we close this off, go back to our terminal, and I have to be careful to clone it in the right place. And the right place is here. The right place would be here in the root directory. So I just do git clone and then paste in this URL. Okay, so we have a problem. Permission denied, could not read. Okay, that's because did we make a typo somewhere? Okay, perhaps let's go back to our Scratch post. Copy this and try to copy off this repository or clone this repository. Right, so we have a problem in that this doesn't work either. So let's see why. So something funny is going on here. When I paste it, I'm getting some non-printing characters that are showing up here. So let me just clear this and let's go back here and put this URL in a text editor. And then I should do git clone followed by all this. So copy, then paste. Now this works, right? So now it asks us for the passphrase, and now we are done. So if I cd into this directory Scratch post, it shows me all the correct files. So now what I can do is I can go and clone this entire repository. Just 1 second. So all I have to do now is this is the repository I need to clone. So I copy this and put it here. Copy this. Paste here. And this should theoretically at least work. So let's try. There we are. So now this is done. The only other thing that needs to be done is the following. So now what has happened is that I've got the contents from my remote repository. Okay, so this contains all the code, or will contain at least, all the code that I expect to find from the remote repository. But this is still local stuff that is nowhere. So let's go and create that. So what I'm going to do is go to Code Composer. And I'm going to say browse, and I'm going to say create a new workspace. So I'm going to go to this folder that just got pulled down. So this was the original workspace that was there. This is the folder that just got cloned. So I'm going to select this folder and then I'm going to launch CCS. So I'm not sure what happened there. Can close this off. Can close this off. Oh, we don't need to. We should keep this and just wait for our CCS to boot. Okay, so now we have CCS. In our project explorer, of course, there are no projects because none of the projects have been actually pushed up to this repository. So for now, I'm going to close off CCS, wait for it to finish doing everything, and then go back here to this terminal because we don't need it, and leave this terminal running. Okay, so I'm just going to take a minute and make sure that all the other code is actually up to date and pushed into the repository. So there it is. So now all the code is up to date. We are in this directory. We want to switch to Embedded Lab 2023. This is the directory that we are interested in. Now we are, of course, in the initialized version of this, which contained nothing but the git config and the config for all the CCS things. So next thing to do is git fetch. Okay. This basically has found that yes, that there is a new branch and that it is on the server. So we are going to go to this branch. There we go. So now once we are on this branch, you can see that this project exists. Next thing I want to do is go and figure out if I'm able to access this project in CCS. So note that whenever we are doing all these shenanigans, we should keep CCS closed. Otherwise, weird things can happen. Now I go to CCS. Same folder as what I've cloned, and I launch. So now you can see that CCS doesn't recognize that there is a project already. So what we have to tell it is there's already a project here. Just look at it and recognize that it is a project. Okay. So we go here, select folder. We are going to import this as an Eclipse project, so that's good. And finish. That's all. And we are in business. Basically, whatever we were doing earlier on my Windows machine earlier, now everything is available here. So let's just make sure that whatever we have done is going to build and run. So let's try clean. Let's try build. This is the step that is most probably breakable. There we go. I think the build has succeeded. So let's try actually plugging in the board. So now the board is plugged in. Starting the debug process. And it's working. So you can see here, because my camera is not on, let me just go and show where my was it this? So this either, not sure where my either of these. Ah, here it is. Let's just enable this camera. You can see. So this is the camera. So yeah, so this is the board, as you can see. I'm going to go do single step. See, that's the white LED coming on. Next should be off. Next should be red, then blue, then green, and then white, and then off, then red, blue, green, and so on. Right? So that means our project works, and that's the right way to add code into Git. So that's about it. I'm going to stop at this point, and we'll catch you with the interrupts later.